Hello guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. And in today's video, I'm gonna be walking you through some tips and tricks around the gym to help you get more impact and more effectiveness out of your workouts, to help you build muscle, to help you lose body fat. We're gonna go through some tips and tricks to speed up your workouts and to actually make sure the exercises that you're doing are gonna help you build that lean muscle. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Harry Knights. I'm the owner of Lean for Life Coaching, where we specialize in getting high-performing men over 30 into the shape of their life, dropping pounds of body fat, building lean muscle, and it's all done without the restricted diets and the hours of cardio, making it suit your real life. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now the first trick is gonna be here with our cable lateral raises. Now this is a fantastic movement to build those shoulders, okay? But how can we make this movement a little bit more effective, a little bit better, and a little bit easier as well to make sure that you maximize what you get out of the movement? So rather than a D handle, we actually want to take this off. So if your gym has this, fantastic. If not, go on like Amazon or anywhere online, you can grab yourself a cuff, because this is going to make sure that we actually really work that lateral head of the shoulder, and things like our grip strength and our wrist don't actually come into play. Now we get the cuff, we put it up our forearm, because now what you'll see here is I've taken out my wrist, I've taken out my hand, my grip strength, all of that is out of the equation, and I can now just really focus on pulling that weight with the lateral head of my shoulder, nothing else. Nothing else is gonna give way, nothing else is gonna come into play. It's just gonna allow me to really target the lateral head here. So if you can get hold of a cuff and use that rather than D handles, fantastic. The D handle is still good, but this makes it great. Now, if you're someone who is doing split squats, but you're struggling with balance and you find yourself wobbling around, jumping around because your back foot's awkward on the bench and you can't get stable in the movement, then this trick is gonna be a game changer for you. What you actually wanna do is find yourself a Smith machine, take the bench out of the equation, and instead you want to put the Smith machine on a setting low down the bottom here. If you have it as well, you want to grab that pad. You know what most women use when they're doing squats? Can I say that? Of course I can, it's my YouTube video. Anyway, so what you want to do, if you can find that pad, is you want to put it on the actual barbell here, and that's going to allow you to get your foot in a position that's more comfortable. It's going to be softer, but also you're in a better position here in terms of height, and you actually have more ability to roll your ankle around that barbell. You're not sort of getting your foot stuck on the bench, and you're gonna be in a much better position to split squat here with more stability. Therefore, you can drive more force and build more muscle. Now, the next hack is how you're gonna actually be able to progressively overload a lot easier within the gym. And if you don't know, you need to progress every single week or every single couple of weeks with your movements in order to build muscle. So look, for example, if one week we were doing 20 kilos and we were doing 8 reps, and that 8th rep was a real struggle and a real challenge, which is what we want to be seeing, but the jump on the cable stack is too much. Like, as you can see, it jumps in 5 kilos. Now, if you're in that position where going from 20 to 25 is too heavy, and it's going to make your form fall off and you're not going to execute the movement correctly, what you actually want to do is grab yourself like a 1.25 kilo plate, or even 2.5 in this instance, because then you can have those more incremental increases in weight. Now, how you actually put this on there is as so. So with the cable stack, you've obviously got the pin. Now what you can actually do is just loop the weight over the pin. Now what that's done is taken that from 20 kilos to 21.25 kilos. So when I'm looking to progress the following week, I'm able to progress without ruining the actual execution and form of the movement, and build up and apply that progressive overload until maybe in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, I can make that jump from 21.25 to 22.5 or 25 kilos. So my next tip is, if you have a weaker area, a weaker muscle group on your body that you're trying to develop more, and it's maybe a lagging muscle group when it's not growing at the same rate as maybe your other muscle groups. This was me, and as you can see from the photos on screen, where my arms were when I first started to where they are now, it's probably one of my stronger muscle groups. Now what I did is I made sure I increased the volume of my arms. So if you have that weaker muscle group, you want to increase volume, but not just anywhere in the sessions. You'll find a lot of people, their weaker muscle groups are the muscles that they actually just tag on at the end of a session. So things like arms, people do at the end of a pull day or at the end of a push day. Things like calves, people do at the end of a leg day. But if you have a weaker muscle group, you want to put that and promote that exercise right to the start of your session. Now, you might think I'm crazy to do arms before I hit chest or if I hit back, but if it's a weaker muscle group, train them early on in that session, train them at the start when you're fresh, when you have more energy, when you can go and really apply progressive overload, when you can really maximize what you get out of that muscle group at the start of a session. You'll know from experience, as you work through that session, the exercises towards the end, you are weaker. You don't have as much energy. You've really taxed yourself early on in the session, So that at the back end of that session, you may be just going through the motions a little bit. So if you have a weaker point, increase the volume. So do more reps, do more weights, do more sets, but do them at the start of the session when you have most energy, and you'll soon realize that you're able to build that muscle group a lot more efficiently, a lot more effectively than if you were just tagging them on at the end. Now, this tip and trick here is fantastic if you want to build your biceps, but you don't have that preacher curl machine where you can rest your elbows on that pad and curl like so. The preacher curl is fantastic because you can really target the short head of the bicep. And if you don't have that piece of equipment in your gym, you want to grab yourself a bench and you want to set it up on an incline. Because what we can do here is we can do single arm dumbbell preacher curls like so. Because single arm is actually fantastic because you get greater alignment, you get a greater range of motion. And if you don't have that preacher curl machine in the gym, this is a fantastic like DIY version of a preacher curl to really work the short head of the bicep. So hopefully you found this video useful, some tips and tricks around the gym. I might do another one just like this with some more tips and tricks, as they are unlimited. In a way, you can just always make the workouts much more effective, much more efficient, as we do with our members at Lean for Life Coaching, who, like I said before, they're high-performing guys. They're limited on time. They're running teams. They're working long hours. They have families. These guys don't want to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym every single day. So we make the workouts much more efficient and much more effective, and we use these tips and tricks within their programming. If you do want a little bit more information on how we help you and how we help guys work one-to-one with them to help them lose body fat, build muscle, and do that without the restricted diets and the hours of cardio and make it actually suit your real life, just click the link down below because there's a free video walking you through this whole process, this whole method in more detail. So click the link down below, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you in next week's video.